we go. Event number 2, Moon Knight. And I can't say let's go because, well, we're already here. Boom! Oh, hello, hi there. It's me, Todd. I'm in the studio, and today's sponsor is myself. The best way to support the channel is to subscribe to my Patreon, where not only do you become a member of the community, you get early access to the B-side videos as well as watch-throughs of movies or TV shows we are covering, and other movie reactions and commentaries from a filmmaker's perspective. And if that's out of your budget, no worries, just hit that like button. It really does help out the channel with the algorithm. And of course, subscribe to get the latest videos delivered directly to you. Hit that notification bell to be alerted of the newest uploads, and please share these videos with your friends and family. And now, back to our regularly scheduled program. It's not as packed as it was before. Let's see. Now you can sit. I think my friends are sitting right here. Let me see if I can sit right here with them. Is this you?
Yeah, that's me. You still recognize the red jacket?
I did.
Do you want in?
Yes. Yeah. I'm like, I think that my friends are sitting right here.
It never occurred to me how you the first time I just now realized that.
Oh, it is cool. Now I see why you're all oohing. That's awesome. Hi everyone, my name is Chanel Riley. I'm an editor at Variety. Welcome to this Q&A with Moon Knight. At this time, please join me in welcoming today's guests who built this funny, tragic, epic world full of gods and monsters and talking hippos. I want to start with the costumer. Please welcome Megan Kasperlik. Also joining us, the production designer, Stefania Cella. We have head writer and executive producer. Please welcome Jeremy Slater. The show's director and executive producer. Please welcome Mohamed Diab. The actor who portrays Layla. Please welcome Calamawy. I think that's all we need, right? We don't need anyone else. Okay, let's go ahead and welcome the actor who plays Moon Knight, and Mark Spector, and Stephen Grant, and Jack Lockley, and Mr. Knight, Oscar Isaac.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you all so much for being here. Congratulations on a fantastic series. Whenever I have people as accomplished as you all are, I actually love to go back to the beginning and ask, what was your first job in this business? Like, Jeremy, did you start as a PA or making copies on a set? Where did it all begin?
I got my start writing terrible movies. Just 10 years of absolute trash. And they were all like, it was during that time where like Saw was out, and so everything was kind of torture porn, and it was just the worst, like hanging on with your fingernails and writing just these really depressing things. And so to be part of something that people actually watch and like is such a new experience for me, and it's so cool.
When you said bad horror movies, my first reaction was, oh, I bet I've seen them all. So
I probably wrote them all.
Mohammed, how about for you?
Sorry about that. I'm doing great. Or you were asking the same question for me?
Yeah, where did it begin for you?
I was working in a bank and I used my a very fancy bank to pitch my ideas until one of them, someone liked it, and actually it was like some kind of a horror film. That was my first film too, but in Egypt.
I love this. I love that so many people started in horror.
Sometimes it's the easiest way to get a production excited about something small the least amount of money that could make money.
Absolutely. May, what about for you? When did you feel you could finally call yourself an actress?
It's not a joke, but it was a horror.
I almost made that joke.
It was this horror called Jen by Toby Hooper, and I filmed it in Dubai. Yeah,
Wow.
that was it.
I'm trying to remember, do you die in that? Or maybe we shouldn't spoil it in case we didn't see it.
Oh. I don't know. Yes, I die, sorry. I die. But it's good. It's a good death.
Oscar, what horror movie did you first appear in?
This one right now. I feel like this really encompasses the symbolic nature of my ego being the biggest head.
Next to you, I would point out 2 more of your heads. Oh wait,
Exactly.
3!
We need more large heads of me. Sorry, Ethan. I actually started in horror as well, but at home with my dad's movie camera.
That's
It was all like murder movies that I would do, where I'd like kill my little brother or my older sister. I was a Dracula. I was a ninja. All sorts of different kind of murdering people. So I started in the same thing.
I love that. Yo, we saw some of your home movies on Saturday Night Live.
There you go.
You've gotten better since
All the
then.
roots that brought us together.
Megan, for you?
I'm sorry to disappoint, but I did not start in horror. I started as a PA, and my first job was on Hope and Faith, and Patricia Field was the costume designer. My roommate at the time did extras casting, and I was styling, and he said, "Oh, do you want to come and do this? They need a PA in this TV show." And I had the audacity to ask who the costume designer was, even though I had no costume experience. And it was Patricia Field, so I said, "Oh yes, of course I'll do it." And then I worked my way up from there.
That is so cool. You knew how to do costumes by the time you signed on for Moon Knight, right?
Hope so.
Stefania, for you?
I started in theater and Greek tragedy, which is like horror. It's violent and they all kill each other, so it's very serious.
Well, again, look how far you've all come. I want to thank you so much for such a fantastic show. And I guess we should start at the beginning with Jeremy, because I know that over the years there have been attempts to bring Moon Knight to the screen. What attracted you to this project, and how did you want to differentiate it from other mainstream superhero shows?
I was desperate to get in the Marvel camp. I'm one of those MCU hardcore fans who kind of goes to every movie on opening night. And so I've been trying for like 10 years. I've been having meetings with Marvel, and we just kind of never found the right project. So they mentioned Moon Knight, and gave me a whole stack of comics to go home with. And I came back, and my initial instinct was, look, a lot of people are expecting you to do Batman here, and we're never going to beat Batman. He's got an 80-year head start on us, but we can do something we've never seen before in a comic book movie. We can infuse it with some Raiders of the Lost Ark, with some, kind of 80s Amblin horror magic, and I guess Kevin liked that approach.
Zero. I knew zero about the character. And I like comic books, I collect the comic books, but I'd never heard of the Moon Knight. And I was curious about it, and when Kevin had mentioned that they were talking to Muhammad, I saw his film Clash, and I was totally blown away. It felt like every single character in that film had their own movie they were coming from, so I knew he knew how to tell a story, how to really, his work with the crowds, it was just insane. It was like 12 Angry Men, but inside of a paddy wagon, and you watch that movie and you don't know how this thing was made. It's so magical, and incredibly emotional as well. So that was totally exciting. And so the first, and then I think I got episodes 1 and 5, because the other ones hadn't quite been finished yet, or I guess those drafts were still working. And so I think one of the first things I did is I talked to Muhammad and I said, "Why are you doing this? You made such a great movie. Why are you like, what is it about this that's making you want to do this? And then he started talking to me about what he loved about it and what he would want to bring to it. And that started getting me very excited. As far as, you know, really focusing in on telling a story about trauma and the nature of trauma, and finding the symbols, you know, using this world, this fantastical world that is this kind of like fantasy genre elements as metaphors and symbols to a real, actual, real life internal struggle with trauma. And so that kind of led us down the road of, well, if we're going to make it about that, let's really delve into DID and the nature of DID and how it manifests itself. And that's the first thing that we really started doing. And I started looking at Steven, and I also thought it was such a smart way of telling this story, which is not just kind of telling a regular linear origin story, but making it this mystery and this real point of view, psychological mystery, that you're immediately thrown into Steven's point of view, and the audience feels exactly as he does. Because, you know, with Superman even, you know, it's like what makes Superman interesting is Clark Kent. You know, I mean, just having superpowers and flying around, like that's, you know, we've seen that now, but it's the duality which is the most interesting. So then with Steven, I found a chance to make this indelible, comic, moving character, and to find the counterpoint to that with this other character, Mark, and within that tell a story about the true nature of trauma and the integration of that and the healing of that. The idea that you come up with these survival mechanisms to survive, to live through hardships, and at some point those don't suit you anymore. You don't need them anymore, so you say goodbye to them and you thank them, and you hopefully integrate and heal, and that was something that was really resonant.
Can you hear them clapping? You don't have to clap, it's not here, but we'll pass it.
I can hear it. You have to clap.
So, did you read the scripts for the Moon Knight series before you ever like cracked open a comic or anything like that?
Me?
Yeah. Sorry, you can't tell I'm looking at you, but I'm looking at three of you right now.
Well, I read episodes 1 and 5, and then I cracked open the comics. I got this big tome of like all the old comic, a collection of all the old comics.
Wow, where did you even start?
Well, I started with that, flipping through that thing, and you know, and started getting a sense. Really, the thing that I got a sense of, other than, you know, just the wild visual palette, was that it was a huge playground. That, you know, over the many, many years, different artists and writers have taken this bizarre character and put their own personal lens on it. So whatever they found interesting, sometimes they completely reinvented his background. They obviously, you know, changed him visually so much. So he's a really mutable character, and I think that allowed some of that anxiety to go away. And be like, oh, this, you know, it's kind of a free-form thing. There's elements that we can find interesting and really push those things, and there's not like a very hardline past story that we have to stick to.
Mm-hmm. And May, you have an interesting challenge because Layla was created just for the show, and I'm curious how much input did you have in creating and then building the character?
When I got the audition, it said like female 20s to 30s, Egyptian, 2 steps ahead. So I really had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know the comics, and I looked through a few, and I was like, who's Egyptian? No, I was like, who's the female? Anyway, so I started to read a few of the scripts, and Mohammed and I spoke a lot about the sort of the like a direction of where this character would go and how she would support Mark and Steven. But I have to say, like, really, I went into this very open. I was freaked out, and I didn't know how it was gonna move forward, and just spending time at our rehearsals, we'd spend like 6 hours on every script and really dig through it. I got to, it was like a blessing for me to experience, because I'm quite new in this industry, but to experience how to really dive into a project and try to create a very authentic story, and out of something that can feel supernatural and we might not be able to relate to as often. And through that, and working with Oscar and really just being there and throwing myself into it, I couldn't intellectualize it. I just started to feel like, oh, I'm figuring out who this woman is, and it was very confronting. I feel like I figured out a lot about myself in that process as well.
As Layla's figuring it out too along the way. I mean, at what point did you realize you were going to get giant metal wings?
Well, Megan, I remember a month after I booked it, called me and was just like, all right, this is what we need, and you need a body scan. And I was like, why do I need a body scan? And she's like, oh, you don't know. And I don't even know if I can share this information. And I was like, well, you have to now. And so it was such a great surprise. We didn't know how the costume was gonna look, and I'm really glad that no one left that up to me, because I was coming up with really bad ideas. And then Megan and Mohammed and everyone involved just created this stunning like costume. And the wings, I don't even know what to say about them. It's cool to fly.
Egypt representation, the way it looks. Because I always say representation is not just for people, it's sometimes for places. Forever, our part of the world has always been portrayed completely wrong. It's always being exotic, trying to shoot the pyramids in a way that you only show it as part of the desert, even though it's a big urban city. And I'm so proud that thanks to you guys, it finally looks like Egypt. For Egyptians, people consider the show like Black Panther. They're Black Panther. This is how much they're proud of it. Absolutely, and it wouldn't have been done without all of your hard work, all of the collaborators. I want to thank everyone, but then I remember, I have to thank myself for letting bright people. Because they're all geniuses, and every one of them. I have to thank you for help hiring me, and who Grant Curtis, who's not with us today, our executive producer, who is the backbone of the show. Who I think one of the main reasons we made so many great choices. Lastly, and most important person for me, every decision I made, I always feel guilty not giving credit for Sarah. Sarah, where are you? Sarah? Is she here or not? She's here? She's the first one. Stand up. Sarah's producer on the show. She's my wife. And everything in the show, and even the pitch, she's a partner with me, and she should. The problem is the chair is not that big, but she should sit in.
Amazing.
And I think Nick is here. Nick Pippin, please, if you're here, stand up. Nick, stand up, Nick. Nick is the geek behind everything, and I always call him, he's gonna be the next Kevin Feige. He's our executive, and he's a genius, and he's a geek. And every small details he shared with, he's helpful in every department and everything. Thank you, Nick, for everything.
Well, I want to thank you all. It's such a great show. Just before we go, Oscar, I hate to put you on the spot, except I don't. We were all downstairs sort of talking about our favorite of the personalities, and we all kind of agreed on who our favorite is.
Steven.
Thank you. Easy question. We all love Steven, although I'd like to meet more of Jake.
Very soon. But by the way, just to collaborate on this, Oscar, I think we had it, all of us, we were so scared that when we start episode 3, someone else is taking the helm after we all loved Steven. That was a big challenge, but I still, Steven is my favorite, but I think we all did a great job to make Mark really lovable.
Absolutely.
I love him too. We don't want to forget Mark, guys.
Well, it's the whole, the thing to remember, it's a system, So, I know you could love one of the alters, but really it's, one doesn't exist without the other. And I think that's also what I feel so proud about, is that heard a lot of, I've gotten a lot of responses from actual systems, and they feel seen for the first time and really represented in a truthful way. And I think for us it was so important that even all the fantastical elements of it, that they had a lot of emotional impact and symbolism to what that internal struggle is. And so it's been really gratifying to see a lot of people, that specifically have DID, but also that have struggled with mental illness, to see it depicted on such a massive stage. I mean, the biggest show in town, which is a Marvel show. So very thankful about that.
Well, I'm so thankful to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being here, audience.
We're headed back over to the Roosevelt Hotel for another reception. So we'll get some footage of the Moon Knight costumes and stuff this time, and some of the other sets that we didn't actually check out before. Here we go. There it is, the Moon Knight costume and Layla's costume. I didn't see that they had this extra room for the show, The Great. Fanning's costume. We just saw her at Girl from Plainville. Another one of her costumes.
If I could have my office
Look
in
at
our
that.
costume shop, I'd be so happy.
Amazing. These sketch drawings of all the different costumes. Pretty sweet. Huh? Alright, friends, that's a wrap on the Book of Boba Fett and the Moon Knight FYC events here in Hollywood at the El Capitan. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click on all the social media links down in the description. I am out of here.